haven't won the cup yet, that's not such a good idea, because you know you can outspend almost anyone. And I think that was part of the reason why in November 2008, and we can talk about the mistake we've done, but we tried to correct those mistakes. A year of work was put to get 19 teams from 15 countries around the table agreeing absolutely every rule. So they were no longer Alinghi rules, they were 19 teams rules. BMW Oracle still decided not to accept those rules and fold into the challengers and make its way through the Challenger Series. They felt that if they ever were going to make it one day to the final of the America's Cup, they had a better chance in court, and that's what happened. And they qualified themselves without going through the Challenger Series. Let's face it. So that must be, to answer your question, a definite advantage.
Okay, Stuart.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Stuart 1, Stuart 2.
Which one am I?
You're 2. You're 2.
The question for Ernesto: if things go your way, in a couple of days you will have a chance to pick another challenger of record for the America's Cup. I'm wondering if you could share what you may have learned from the last process and how you might do this process differently, drafting a protocol and picking a yacht club with which to work for the 34th America's Cup.
Well, we're in a very different situation than we were 2.5 years ago, or 3 years ago. Certainly one thing we learned is that we need to take time to settle. If we are good enough to win the America's Cup again, we will take time to think about what's the right move, the next step. We won't do it on our own, obviously. We'll do it with a challenger record. We have a number of challenger record or challenger interested in becoming the challenger record. So I think that the lesson is, let's not rush into things, because the America's Cup gets very, very intense a few weeks before and remains quite intense a few weeks after the regatta, and a lot of decisions are made. And I think with 2 cups behind, the experience tells me that the slower pace is probably a more reasonable one than the one we used last time.
Okay, Bernie?
Ernesto, Bernie Wilson of Associated Press, San Diego. Another Larry question. Did your friendship with him basically start to fall apart when he hired Russell Coutts?
Possibly. You should ask him.
Well, that's what he said, but I mean, could we get from your aspect what it was that about that decision that?
Well, you know, I made the effort to go and see him in California. We had a good meeting. I came back with a lot of hope that we could reach a solution, and he indicated that he felt the same. And then the following week there was a RC44 regatta. I never heard from him after that.
Okay.
All right, Corey Friedman from Scuttlebutt. This question is for Ernesto. Following up on this gentleman's question, do you feel that you were treated fairly by the New York State courts?
Sorry?
Do you feel you were treated fairly by the New York State courts? You seem to indicate that you thought there might be some hometown advantage.
You know, if you throw enough stones, you're gonna get a hit. You know, and I think that was pretty much the strategy. You know, nine lawsuits, 7 protests. You know, if you're gonna use that weapon, and we decided not to, and we defended until recently, when this issue of constructing the country was so ridiculous that we decided to retaliate. How can someone argue that we're not using Swiss sails when the whole concept of their boat, the entire design and engineering is a copycat or a French boat? Is just beyond me. Now they pretended in their challenge document that they were going to to sail with a sloop. They don't have a sloop. I mean, there's a lot of things we could have done, and we have done because of the situation we were put with the sails. But you know, that was not our strategy. We did not want it to be in court. And for those who were there in 2000 when we announced the Alinghi team, I said it at my first conference. I said it to all you guys. I hope I will never have to get there. And I was dragged into it. And I'm glad that we have finally got to a regatta. We finally got to a race, and that's what I'm happy about.
But do you feel that you were treated fairly while you were there?
I mean, I believe in the legal system in the U.S. I've been, you know, raised and studied there, and do business in the U.S. It's a system. You gotta use it. I mean, I'm not gonna be putting any shades or taste on the U.S. legal system. I just say that if you trigger it enough time, you're gonna get some hits. I just, you know, fundamentally, I believe it's wrong. You know, I believe it's fundamentally wrong to take the America's Cup to court, and I fundamentally believe it's not a sportsmanlike behavior, and it was even said by the judge. You know, when Russell wins the America's Cup for New Zealand with 3DL sails, then wins the America's Cup for Switzerland with 3DL sails, and then sails for an American syndicate with 3DL sails, and turns around and doesn't want its opponent to use 3DL sails, that cannot be sportsmanlike shit. It just can't be. You know, I mean, it's not me. You know, I don't see it. That's not the way I think of the America's Cup and the sport.